Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is April 26th, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hello.
Jarl Tokus.
Hello.
Viking Thorin, aka Metaroon.
Oi!
And Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness. Remember that first time you wandered into the plains? You probably thought, wow, a new area. Look at all the pretty red flowers. I sure would like to make a house here someday. Then a little mosquito started buzzing around and whap! It gave you the business. Well, think of us like that. We buzz around all week inside of Valheim. Then whap! We give you the Valheim business every Friday. And that said, we've got a couple of announcements today. Thorin is back after 2 weeks. What have you been up to, Thorin?
Yeah, sorry I've missed the last couple episodes. I was kind of busy at work. We were running a hackathon event last week during our recording. So yeah, I was very sad to miss the Grimcore birthday surprise. That looked like a lot of fun. And there were some great conversations had with him. But yeah, back now for the next little while. And yeah, happy to be here.
What's a hackathon?
Yeah, so I'm working on a new tool at work. It's like a developer tool for developers at my company. And we wanted to kind of gather feedback and have people experiment with the tool. And so we just have kind of a one-day event where everybody kind of gets up and running with our tool and sees what they can build with it. And then we do like demos and celebration at the end and that kind of thing. It's basically an excuse to have a day full of fun where you get to build whatever you want. And then you get beer and free food and that kind of thing. So it's a good time.
Nothing wrong with beer and free food.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said the magic words. Where do I sign up?
I know. We have kegerators at our office, which is pretty cool. But we recently got kegged champagne in our office lunchroom. How crazy is that?
Hiya.
I guess that's not meant for the workday, though?
No, that's after your workday.
Oh.
After your hackathon.
Oh, awesome. Did anybody do anything exciting over this last weekend that we can talk about?
I went, so you know how 2 weeks ago when we had Monty on, we were nerding about reenactment and shows and making kits and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that weekend I was due to go and attend my first reenactment show up in Wales. And so I was literally rushing to the last minute to finish my clothes so I could actually show up as a reenactor. And I'm happy to say I managed. I finished my entire kit in about 2-3 days, which involved me going to bed at like 4 a.m. the day off, just finishing sewing and hemming everything. And yeah, I did just one day at that one. It was like a 3-day show, but I just attended one day. I did my first real fight with lots of people in front of an audience, which was fun. And I ate some good food. I did some leather work and lots of fun stuff. So that was cool. And now I'm preparing. I'm basically doing the same thing for this weekend, which is another 3-day weekend for us in the UK. And it's another 3-day show. And I'm actually attending the 3 days this weekend. And I now need to do another set of, at this time, I just need to make a dress because basically the kit I did for last time was for on the field for battle, but now I need to make my just female impression for off the field. So yeah, I'm going to probably not sleep much this week and try to finish sewing all of that. But yeah,
Awesome.
I'm up to these days.
Sounds like a lot of fun. When you're sewing, do you just sit there focused on it, or do you like put on a TV show, or how into it are you?
Yeah, it depends. So we're lucky that like our reenactment society isn't like hardcore forcing us to hand sew everything. We just need to hand sew the visible seams. So like the hemming around the collars and the cuffs and the bits that people would see. But everything else we can sew by machine. So usually if I'm doing like machine sewing, I will probably put some podcast on my headphones and just listen to music or something. If I'm doing hand sewing, I have done that a little bit in front of a good show, but Yeah, it's more the bit that I find really challenging is not so much the sewing, because that's like you know where you need to sew. It's pretty straightforward. It's all the measuring and the cutting and figuring out like fitting everything. That's the kind of geometrics that are involved in that are challenging for me. All the prep. Once we get to the sewing part, that's the easy bit.
So you find that listening to a podcast is a little too distracting for some of the detailed hand sewing work?
No, because the sewing bit is you can do that and just watch something else or like listen to something. It's quite, you get in a groove and your hands just do the work. It's like, I couldn't listen to a podcast and try to figure out where to cut the fabric at the beginning, like that would be too much because I'm trying to measure stuff, measure myself, measure the fabric, figure out like what shapes I need to cut to make the thing. And I couldn't do that and focus on what someone is saying.
Yeah, I find if I have to do measurements and sort of design where things get cut, or like when I'm doing woodwork or something, building a set or something, I can't listen to a podcast because of the but if I'm building something from IKEA, usually I can, if I can tell from the picture how to put it together. But the moment I have to stop and read the instruction, I have to stop the podcast. I cannot focus on it. Yeah. What about you, Tolkas? Anything fun this last weekend?
Nothing specific. I decided to call my father at home, and when he answered his phone, it's like, "Hey, what happened?" Because usually I only call home when something happened to me, like I don't know, I end up in the hospital or something is up. But in this case, I just wanted to go to the cinema with him, so it's a pleasant surprise.
Did you go and watch the Northman movie? Northman.
I'm about to go there. I wanted to see the movie Dumbledore's Secret first, just to have it all complete. But I cannot really recommend it. Johnny Depp
it's a new Harry Potter movie?
Yeah, the third one, the third of the Fantastical Beasts series.
Oh, okay.
So went there with my parents and my girlfriend, and afterwards we met with my brother and we went at a restaurant to eat something. It was
nice.
Yeah, calm weekend.
So this weekend I did see The Northman. Actually saw it on Friday, the day it came out here in the U.S. And I just
no spoilers.
What's that?
No spoilers, please.
Oh no spoilers, no spoilers at all. But I will say that I like to focus on when I'm doing stories or critiquing movies. I focus on the cause and effect of the storytelling, because I think most filmmakers miss out on. They don't apply critical thinking as well, and so they miss out on cause and effect. Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, have this really great this video where they talk about storytelling, and you can either do two kinds of storytelling. It's this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and that is terrible storytelling, because the thing that happens next isn't an effect of the previous cause. It's just the writer wants something to happen, so they just say this happens, and then the next scene they just want something else to happen, so it happens regardless. There's no cause for it. So they say, really, a scene should happen, and then the next scene should be based on the causes of the previous scene. Unless you're setting something up for later, because they're disconnected scenes. But eventually, everything should have cause and effect. And this movie kind of misses the cause and effect, but it's very kind of an eclectic art film with visuals that are so stunning, and kind of a story that's going on along with it, that it made it super interesting for me as a filmmaker. But I spoke to Kondo, one of the other admins on our server, and him and his wife hated it. I just wanted to explain that like he was looking for the more traditional narrative from the movie, and because they didn't get that, they did not like it. But as a filmmaker, I'm kind of curious if other people, non-filmmakers, will like it. So if you guys see it, we'll have to follow up and talk about that. But I did appreciate the filmmaking style, but yeah, it's not a traditional narrative, which can be frustrating for some people. Morning, did you do anything fun this weekend?
Did I do anything fun this weekend? Well, I mean, not really.
Well, that's a good answer.
I did my D&D game on Sunday. And my husband and I are finally gearing up our crafting to do the major dungeon crawl game that we do at the end of May.
Okay.
And so I'm finally getting the crafting project started so I can finally build the castle in Valheim that I can take screenshots of to give my players, because that's going to be way easier than coming up with a floor plan.
So wait, just to understand, you're DMing a Dungeons and Dragons game
Yes.
at the end of May, and I'm not familiar with the dungeon crawler thing, but I'm guessing the main. Is it like a one shot, and the main objective is to go through this dungeon, and so now you're building it in Valheim?
So not exactly. I'm going to be doing you have most of it right. I'm going to be doing a one shot. It's going to be a fully involved story, 8-hour game. And then my story is linked with my husband's story, and his story is linked, and my story is also linked with another GM's story. And so the three of us are going to be telling stories that affect each other, and what the players do in each game will affect the different tables. And then we're going to be having a main event where up to 200 people can watch. It's going to be AV, so you're going to be able to like watch online and like text what you want the players to do. But there are going to be 4 players doing a 2-hour dungeon crawl in an upside down destroyed wizard's tower. And we just figured out how to make a ferric Elmer's glue mix. Or iron oxide Elmer's glue mix that we're applying to the floor pieces so we can hang the entire structure upside down in the main ballroom of the convention.
Oh, wow. Sounds fun.
Oh, so it is a convention. Okay, because like as you're describing, I'm trying to understand what is real and what is just the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, what? Glue as in like magical glue? Or
Yeah, it is actually magical glue. But no, so like we have a cathedral that we've put together, and we're going to break it apart and hang it upside down. And we were trying to figure out how to get the minis, the miniature character models, to stick to this upside down structure. And so we applied iron oxide into Elmer's glue into like a paste and smeared it onto the floors. And then we're going to paint over that so that you can't tell. And when we hold it upside down and stick a mini to it, the mini sticks. And so I'm really excited about we figured that out.
Oh,
super involved. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Sounds a little easier than using magnets for every tile, though.
Yes. And a lot less expensive.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about some of the new videos that we've posted since I was last on. It's been 2 weeks, but a couple of you put up some videos too. Just today, I actually released a Frost Cave Void video where shows you basically how to get outside of the Frost Cave and to the outside of it. So not out through the exit where you enter the cave, but on the other side of the walls, each cave is actually, the inside of each cave is way up in what's called like a skybox. So it's way up in the world. And if you get outside of the cave through the wall somehow, you can get on top of the cave, and it looks really interesting up there. So I have a video on how to do that with the Frost Caves, and plan to make a couple of videos on the Sunken Crypts, Burial Chambers, and Troll Cave as well. And then, of course, last week I released Podcast 16, which, thank you to Tulkas, Gwen, and Morning, the three of you, for covering for me. You guys did an awesome job. That podcast,
great work.
Yeah, that podcast is doing better than any podcast to date. It's got the most views so far. So that's awesome. Even in its short time, it's got 8,000 views already, and none of our podcasts have even half that yet. I think our highest podcast, we have 4,000 views on a few, but it's gonna surpass all of them. I think I came up with a really good thumbnail that attracted people to. It said Magic, Ocean Biome, and Mistland Secrets. So, and then of course it says Grimcore Reveals. So I think that attracted people. But also people are staying to watch it, I think, a little bit longer than most others overall, because the content is fun, even as crazy and what we call streamer brain, when it's hard to keep track of everything going on. You guys did a great job with that. But
Well,
also,
the build was so incredible.
oh yeah, the birthday build. If anybody listening to this hasn't seen the video version, you should definitely check it out on my YouTube channel. The birthday cave that was built for Grimcore's birthday. And then I took a clip from that podcast and called it Mistlin's Rabbit Secret because Grimcore revealed an interesting thing about the Mistlin's hair. And I added some fun little clip art and stuff to that video. So separate little short video. I also released a video of a tour of one of the clans on our server called the Mountain Wolves. They have villages built up in the mountains, and they are just some of the most beautiful villages built on our server. They have a rule that says none of their builders are allowed to manipulate the terrain when they're building their houses. And it just creates some really interesting designs. And they have some design aesthetics they like to keep too. So seeing a village with all similar design aesthetics is really amazing. You should check that video out. And then I also released a video called Killer Mistlin's Critter, which is a little skit featuring Jiroc and Auric. When they encounter one of the Mistlin's critters. It's kind of fun. So check that out if you haven't seen them. And Thorin, you have a couple of videos out since last you were on. You want to tell us about those two?
Yeah, sure. I haven't been doing too much in terms of my regular video updates. I've just been spending way too much time outside in the yard trying to get ready for the summer. But we've had a new series kick off that has been fun to share with folks. So it is called The Business Givers, and it is a collection of 6 of our admins and helpers and everything from our server doing a brand new Valheim playthrough. And it's been a blast. It's a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And we're streaming that, live streaming it every week or two on Mondays or Thursdays. So 12 p.m. PST. So if you want to come hang out live, feel free. And then, that's been some good action there. And Jiroc's planning to kind of edit those down into some more, how would you put it, Jiroc?
They'll be edited down to an episodic series, kind of like a TV show. That'll be kind of fun when they get edited down to just the key moments, the fun moments, the action moments, and some moments with Gwen and Hugin, but I can't tell you too much about that. So, Gwen, can you tell us about the few videos that you've put up over the last week?
So the main one was the live stream of Grimcore's interview, and from that I have been taking a few clips. There's one that I already posted around grapevines, and I'll leave it at that. And some hints, of potentially things involving vines coming up in the game. And I have a few more on the go that I will be publishing in the coming weeks. And I'll basically take a few clips of that long live stream and post some of that. The whole Hugin reference, because I feel like it's going to be a recurring joke, both on the podcast, on the server, everywhere. I was like, oh, fine. I'll just post that clip of what happened with Hugin. I'll post it on my YouTube so that people know what we're talking about. It happened on our last playthrough of the Business Givers that Thorin just described. And something awkward happened when I lied down in my bed, and then suddenly Hugin was on top of me.
Can you tell us the title of your thumbnail?
Getting jiggy with it. Hugin getting jiggy with it, or something like that.
I love the avatar that you put on there of yourself too. It's a great expression.
Yes.
Awkward face.
Well, yeah, your mouth is like wide open, screaming in terror.
Oh no! Oh yeah, that's that one. I was hesitating. I was like, either I put the sweaty, slightly sweating, awkward face, or the scream. But the scream was probably more appropriate because it was just very awkward. You know how Hugin is he's a stalker. He's an absolute creepy bird. He just stalks you around, and what happened just didn't make it better.
Not really.
So how many different avatar expressions do you have? Because looking at your YouTube channel, which everybody should go look up, Gwen the Shield Maiden YouTube channel, I'm noticing that you have quite a few different expressions here. Do you know how many you have total?
Yeah, so I commissioned those amazing avatars from my lovely sister, who's an artist. She works in animation, and no, she's always been like a very artistic, and she's I love her style. And she made me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 initially, and I just keep adding to the list. Or what I do is I just take bits of some and just change a little bit, like the one that you see on that the one where I'm screaming, or one of the recent ones. I've got I took the mouth of the screaming emote and then grafted it on another face of another expression. So sometimes, just because she's really busy and I don't want to constantly ask her, oh, can you make me this and can you make me that, I've been just like, cutting pieces and building my own. I've got a few more that I've got in stock. But yeah, I think she might make a few more for me. They're really fun. To be honest, my favorite thing about, I was telling you that, Jiroc, earlier, my favorite thing about the whole video creation process is just coming up with the thumbnails. I'm having so much fun with just that.
Oh yeah, that's the fun part.
The video editing part is difficult, but the thumbnails is fun.
Oh man, I need to learn how to make thumbnails.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at some point we might hire your sister Gwen to do us the thumbnails and the emojis for every admin specifically.
Well, Morning Darkness commissioned a bunch of them.
I've got 12 emojis are on the way, and she did my avatar. And she's got 2 more avatars that I'm commissioning too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that art style. It reminds me of like 80s Dungeons and Dragons cartoons. It's a really fun art style. Well, Morning, you've been doing a lot of live streaming over on Twitch. Can you tell us what you've been up to over the last week?
I have. I think either today or tomorrow or was it like 2 days ago? I don't know. Something like that. I've been streaming for a month. So I had like my month Twitchiversary. And I did put the Grimcore birthday up. It's in 2 different videos because my computer completely crashed halfway through the interview. And I was just like, no. And so yeah, my laptop overheated. It was very sad. But I do have those 2. And then I've been doing a lot of recording of the season 2 builds that I've been doing, which have been taking me way longer than everyone else. But I've been streaming probably 4 hours, 3 or 4 nights a week.
So just to clarify for the audience, you're building, you're helping to build some points of interest for our season 2 survival server, which is awesome. Are you having fun trying out all the different creative things, rotating pieces, and just trying things you can't do in the standard game?
Yes. I mean, I will give one single spoiler. I turned a tub on its side, and it kind of looks like a scrying mirror or something.
Yeah, I saw that today. I logged on to check because we have this system with a spreadsheet when a POI needs review, and I saw you put it up for review, so I logged on and I walked up to that thing and I had no idea what it was, and like I stared at it for a second. I thought, what build piece is that? And then I walked into it and it started splashing, and she turned the hot tub. That looks so cool.
Yeah. So I'm having a ton of fun. And yeah, I have a couple people who watch me who are like, oh no, do it this way. Oh no, do it that way. So I'm getting a lot of feedback and a lot of help. So I feel like I've improved as a creative builder exponentially. And so it's been really incredible. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have some other players on our server, admins and some non-admins, helping us build in creative mode for our season 2 server. And they spend very little time on the standard vanilla server now because they just love building in creative mode, which I think really is one of the strengths of this game through mods. You really need mods to unlock the power of Valheim. And I think prolonging Valheim even past its 1.0 release is going to be in enabling the players to have these tools to do more creative stuff. hopefully in game, but right now it's with modders.
And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show.
So some Valheim news. Iron Gate reached the milestone of 10 million copies of the game, which is pretty amazing.
Woohoo!
Ooh, congrats, Iron Gate.
Yeah.
Still selling.
That is so incredible.
Yeah, still selling copies, even, after so long. They're still climbing up and hitting a few million, because I know they hit the 6 million mark pretty quick, and then the 8 million, and yeah, now 10. That's awesome. It's so great to, especially as content creators, all of us here, and even Tokas has done a few live streams. Yeah, it's great to see the game, selling to more people, because that's a bigger audience. And of course, every time they do an update, that increases our audience. But I have to admit, 10 million copies, it's actually one less than 10 million copies to individuals, and probably more, but because I own 2 copies. So it's not 10 million people, it's 10 million copies of the game. Yeah, I have 2 copies, so I can do videos and have 2 different accounts and do some camera work while one character's in the screen that I can't do with the other. Does anybody else here have more than 1 copy or thinking about it? Thorin?
Not yet. I only have 1 PC, so maybe if I ever build a second PC to do some cool cinematographic stuff, one day. But not right now.
Yeah.
I gifted 1 copy to my sister, so technically I bought 2, but I don't own 2.
Oh, there you go.
I have 2 copies, but of another game, the ones I play with my girlfriend.
You haven't been able to get your girlfriend onto Valheim yet, though, huh?
No, it has bats, and she is phobic to bats.
What about before the bats, though?
Before that, she was really interested.
Okay.
Also, we're playing a game called Grounded, and that's like more her style. It's a bit cuter than Valheim.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, no worries.
But didn't you say that she was big on The Sims?
Yes, totally.
If so, she'll love Valheim. The building side of things, at least.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is, but sometimes, for some reason, she's not interested in Valheim.
Well, yeah, when they finally release 1.0, I'm hoping for a whole new audience. Kind of a strategy of mine, and maybe Thorin's been thinking about this too. Building your channel now while they're in early access, because it's already so popular. I predict it'll have a big surge during each new update, but with the 1.0 release, hopefully an even bigger surge. And having a backlog of Valheim videos could be beneficial to our ad revenue if
Definitely.
if YouTube's algorithm will promote any of those. Who knows?
Planning a year or 2 down the road.
Yeah. Or if the algorithm doesn't pick up those old videos, then at least we'll be pros in figuring out how to quickly get out new Valheim content for the new players.
Exactly.
So we have a couple of server and event updates for season 2. Morning, have you? Do you want to give a little sneak peek of just what you mentioned, the one where you built the one house with the pool or the hot tub turned on its side. Is there any sneak peeks of other POIs that you worked on that you want to tell the audience about?
Sure. Yeah. There's one piece I think that took up like 4 or 5, if not more, of my streams, which was building a wizard's tower. And it's
that tower.
That tower, yeah, Vertigo Tower. And it's something like 100 meters tall, I think, as I measured it.
Did that take about a half an hour to fully fall apart when you broke it that one time while testing?
Oh my gosh. When I copied it over without the mushroom supports, oh man. It took like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's still pretty long.
Yeah, no, or more. Yeah, something like that.
It was like watching the Titanic crash. It was such a slow destruction. So slow. But I was laughing the whole way through, as you were.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I was crying. Like, let's be real. I was laughing so hard. I was just crying. And then like one of my audience was like, "Oh my God, did you just lose it all?" And I'm like, "No, this was a blueprint. Everything's fine. The tower's still there."
Yeah.
But I did end up rebuilding it completely to adjust for some of the things that we learned. And it looks so much better now than it did before. And it's fully decorated. I just need book titles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I need so many book titles because it's a wizard's tower.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask all the players to go in and label their books at some point because I'm realizing there's so many books in everybody's builds that it's going to take me forever to do that. But
so, I mean, it's fun to come up with the book titles and stuff because you can put in Easter eggs. You can do all kinds of different things for the players that are on the server, like or for my audience, like they'll know specifically, oh, hey, that book was for me,
Yeah.
And so it's really a lot of fun. And then one of the other things that I built, it's so funny because this was actually mentioned yesterday during your Pyramid POI video live stream.
Yeah.
Jiroc, and it was, it'd be so cool if there was some sort of arena around a tar pit. And I'm like, I messaged the person saying that later. I was like, here's a sneak peek of what it actually already looks like.
Yeah, Kondo and I played around with that, and I think we got it to work around a tar pit pretty well. So I think it's going to be a fun POI for people.
Yeah, I before I realized you had done that, I had done something similar, and I was able to fix the problems that I ran into as well. So we'll see which one you want to use. But
yeah,
I did fix it. I had to hide the ward because there was a ward like underneath the ground, but it wasn't far enough down. And the minute those growths saw the ward, they started destroying the center structure.
Oh yeah. No, we normally I put the wards underneath the ground just because the hammer has an offset command, so I can offset it like 4 or 5 meters. And if I click on the surface of the ground, it'll just put it under the ground. I'll have to show you how to do that later.
Yes, please. I need that.
Yeah, it's a fun extra tool. But Tolkas, you and Morning have been working a little bit on the lore. Is there any sneak peeks you can tell us about that?
Well, there is one boss that has been eating a lot and has been growing so big and arrogant that he is now calling himself the king, basically, as demanding tribute from everyone that's passing his territory, for example.
Is it Jabba the Hutt?
Maybe.
We also have a missing persons piece of lore. There's Gertrude, who has made a series of taverns, so Gertie's guest house, and she's gone missing. So they'll have to find out what happened to Gertie.
Yeah, these are some of the fun things. In addition to just POIs where players will go and fight stuff, they'll get clues that'll lead them to big boss fights and rewards. But also, as Morning Darkness mentioned, there's these fun book titles to add some flavor and fun to the world. And then as they're both writing the lore of the bosses and some of the things in the world, just to help with the immersion and give things a story and feel like you're in a real living world. Because right now, the game, it has its rune stones with some fun things on there, as we learned how those came to be when we had the writer on one of our podcasts. But for the most part, the world's empty, in standard vanilla. But yeah, with all the flavor from the lore you guys are writing, I think the players are going to be really excited about the immersion part.
Oh God, I wish I could brag about what we're doing there.
Yeah, in good time.
Mm-hmm.
And also for the audience who's wondering why we're talking about books so much, just to clarify, maybe one of you wants to talk about how we're making books and libraries in game?
Right. So the signs When, just the normal signs that you can make in game with coal and wood. When you scroll your mouse over that, if you've typed on it, the text will show up by your mouse cursor. So even if you have the signs stacked up in such a way that you can't see what's actually on them, you can still read what each title is, or what the writing is. And so you can make book titles, or you can stack them up in different ways to make it look like an actual book on a table. And you can scroll your mouse over each page, so to speak, to read the book.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one of the very creative uses of signs that we've seen in game. A lot of people are putting them on, instead of putting them straight on the wall so you can see and read the sign, just flipping them sideways and stacking them so they look like the signs, the binds of books, and make it look like a shelf, bookshelf. But I've also seen people making animations with signs.
Yeah, Dipstick.
And that was, I believe, that was Dipstick, I believe. He made that because he, and it's a video that you've got on your channel, Jiroc, I think.
Yeah.
Where Dipstick made this amazing arcade game. Like, that really looks like an arcade. And he used the signs. And basically, when you hover quickly from side to side over the signs, there's a little animation. Like how do you call it? Is it the gyroscope? Like those very old-timey, the very first attempts at animating using, books and just like flip books.
Yep.
And you've got a slightly offset drawing on each. And if you flip through the pages really quickly, it makes an animation. So he did that with the signs in game, which blew my mind.
Yeah. Those signs are turning out to have all kinds of fun things that you can do with them in game that I think were unintentional, like the books or Dipstick's animations. And of course, we know that you can float text off the sign too. So fun little things that I'm sure were unintended, but players figure out a way to do something creative with them.
Well, that's that again. It's the fun way. If that's it's the one thing when 20 people are developing again, and then 10 million are playing it, someone is going to figure out something to mess everything up.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's what slowed down the initial roadmap, was once millions of players. I think I heard something where they said they were expecting 60 to 80,000 people to buy the game. But then when 6 million people bought the game, it blew their mind, and they got so much feedback of things that they never predicted that they had to go in and fix everything. So they couldn't, they had to slow down their roadmap because there was so many things to fix, which is understandable. Well, let's jump over to the things that we'd like to see changed in game. This is, the game works one way, and maybe it has some positives, but we wish that if we could push a magic button, we could change it to maybe do something a little bit different. Morning Darkness, would you like to tell us something that you'd like to see changed?
Sure. So what I really love about this game, if it's not obvious, is building. I've got my ginormous treehouse on the playground server that I'm still working on. And, I'm going absolutely crazy in the survival server building stuff. But I wish that there was a way to toggle between the different snap points, because I know that there are a lot more snap points than what's immediately obvious. And sometimes it's really hard to get it to snap exactly where you want it to. So I wish you could just toggle between those. I know there's a mod that allows you to do that, but I feel like it should reasonably be something that you could just do in game.
Yeah, it seems like the modders have a lot more. There's a lot more modders, programmers out there than the two that they have over at Iron Gate. So Iron Gate's focusing on just the base, single player survival mode of the game, and the modders are giving us all that wish list. But that would be great to have as a standard vanilla thing in game.
Yeah, you can use I think the most similar thing you can use is the doors, where you get the 3 different snap points on the front, middle, and back of the door to try and give you more, but it doesn't necessarily help you snap onto them.
No.
Well, Thorin, what about you? What would you like to see changed if you had a magic button?
Yeah, mine is kind of related. And we've talked about some of these items in the past, but I'm kind of just rolling it up into one. I really like how the game keeps things really streamlined and makes it very approachable and kind of slowly educates you as you play on how to do each and everything in terms of all the game's systems and building and that type of thing. But I think Iron Gate maybe leans a little too far into the survival aspect sometimes, and maybe this is just as they're trying to finish the game and it'll change after the 1.0 release. But I think the longevity of the game and like the end game of Valheim really comes from the building and the sandbox aspect, and people are constantly pushing the possibility of what you can do with building, and obviously there's lots of mods for it like Gizmo and spawning admit items and mods that allow you to cycle through different snap points and that type of thing. And so I almost wish there were like an advanced mode for building built into the game that you could toggle on that makes some of this stuff available freely to you, because I think a lot of us feel that it deserves to be in the game. Like, it feels very natural for those mods to be installed and to use those as a builder. And so not necessarily asking for any one specific thing, but I would love if there were like an advanced mode that you could turn on for building that that includes some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, as building with the mods is amazing, especially with Infinity Hammer, how you can select the thing you're pointing at, so you don't have to go through the menu to find it. Just select something, it'll sample it, and then you can build that piece. That's one of the examples of how like a tool set for builders could be awesome. But again, base game, and maybe after 1.0, when they have their full game fleshed out, they'll start looking back at ways they can improve it. And more builder tools would be awesome.
Totally.
Gwen, what would you change if you had the magic button?
Okay, so I'll hint at something that we talked about last week with Grimcore, but I like food. I like food in general, but also in the game. And one of the staples of food throughout history is butter and cheese. So dairy products, because humans have figured out that you could use milk to make things for a very long time. Yet we have no cheese in Valheim, and that makes me sad. As a French person, that makes me very sad. So I am petitioning to bring cheese to Valheim. It's been a conversation with a lot of players, and I know a lot agree we should be able to milk loxes or any other animals. Well, maybe not any other, but the animals that make sense, and make cheese and other cheesy products. That would be nice. And I think Grimcore kind of agreed. He said that they initially intended to have that with the loxes, but somehow it didn't make it through the game.
Cheese.
Bring cheese to Valheim.
So we have Team Throwing Axes and Team Cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to ask them if they're on Team Cheese too next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Tokus, what about you? Is there anything that you'd like to see changed in the game?
What I like to see changed is there is a two-handed version of every weapon, the axe, the hammer, but I really would wish for a two-handed sword that I can swing around in the Witcher style.
Ooh.
For example, like I love the Witcher game, and it's just my parents gifted me a couple of books that I should read at some point. But yeah, it would be just so cool to have a two-handed sword option. Maybe with Blackmetal, maybe we can have a crystal-ish lightsaber two-handed sword. I don't know. But what I maybe would like to change even more than the two-handed sword would be a Blackmetal arrow.
Ooh.
There are silver arrows, bronze arrows, iron arrows. Why is there no Blackmetal arrows?
Wait, there's not one?
No, it's the needle.
Yeah, but
what?
yes, there's the needles, but no Blackmetal for some reason. I know it's we have been talking about it a lot, that I keep mentioning it every single time almost.
Yeah, because like black metal is the one metal that we have abundance of after a while, and you don't know what to do with it because it's just so much, and you pick some up every time you kill a raid or a fueling village or whatever, and Yeah, we can't make arrows with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like resin, Great Dwarf Ice, and Black Metal on the same level. Those are the items that the game basically throws at you, and you're just drowning in it. And then
And bones as well, skeleton. Bones.
kind of. But then like the answer is always, well, what would be the point of them? Here is a point for you developers if you're listening. Just make them like the upgraded version of fire arrows, for example. Fire arrows that make, I don't know, more damage. Because we already have the piercing arrows with the needles. But magical arrows, I don't know, give them a little bit, AoE, where they do fire damage in an area.
Exploding arrows.
Yeah, give us exploding arrows like the fueling fireballs, but make it a bit weaker. I don't know. Just throwing ideas into the room. I can't do everything for you guys. So now, here, please go do something.
Exploding arrows sounds amazing.
Yeah,
that would be so much fun.
I think I just got the thumbnail in my head for that.
There you go.
Viking grenade launcher.
That's funny.
Ooh, if we could build catapults, that'd be cool too.
Catapults,
siege
ballistas.
weapons.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe we need multiple teams. We need Team Trebuchet as well.
Yeah.
Because that
Yes.
came up multiple times in the podcast.
I think Gripcore mentioned that they might build some kind of base defense weapons, didn't he?
Yes.
Something
Yes,
like
he
that.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
Yes.
I can hear the German memes in my head. Hans, get the Flammenwerfer. Get the siege defense weapons.
Yeah, so for myself, I'm a big fan of the carts. I love the carts. When I first played the game, I used them. Funny thing too, I didn't even realize when I very first playthrough that I could go to my location, then build my cart next to the copper node, and then bring everything back. So imagine, brand new player starting at his base in the meadows, close to the Vegvisir stone, where the Forsaken, you hang the Forsaken trophies. And that player building the cart and then dragging it all the way through the meadows, all the way into the Black Forest, breaking a couple of times, having to repair it, taking lots of damage, freaking out because the mobs would attack it or it would hit something. And then finally getting there. And then at some point I realized, oh, you know what? I could just bring the materials with me and run over there. But I do love the carts. They're a lot of fun, and of course they have a bunch of uses. So they're great just for decoration. Like if you'd like to decorate, you put them around your base to decorate with. The boxes inside are called braided boxes. So when you load them up, the cart up, you can break it, and then those boxes will fall out. You can use those boxes as decoration, or you can use them as storage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The cart itself is also a great early game storage because it holds so much, and you can only build the small chests early on. So they're great. If you use a bunch of carts, you can have a lot of extra storage. And of course, I have a video showing how you can walk on water with them and pretty much go as far as you want. It also allows you to build deeper in water if you are walking on a cart in water. And, then standard use, it's mobile storage, whether you're resource gathering or you're just building something so you can drag the cart around. And you can even put them onto a boat and have more storage. However, most people just don't seem to use carts much. Is that true of you guys? Can you guys all tell me?
It's very situational. Very situational. Like when it needs to be on flat ground, but then it's very useful if you need to. If you have a bunch of ores and coal and you have your smelting area there and it's a flat piece, then the cart is very useful there. Just throw everything in there and go to your smelter location.
I mostly use it as a decoration item or to make a place, a village look a bit more lived in. Or I use it as literally my dump cart, where when I'm in a rush, I don't have time to sort all my items in storage. I just dump everything in the cart and sort it later.
Yep.
I've cleaned out a few of Gwen's carts.
Oops.
So it's a needs to be sorted box.
Yeah. I need to use them more. Let's just say that. I do not. I have. Every time I see people use it for building, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's a really good idea. It's just your mobile workstation, and I never think to use them. I'm always running back and forth just with what my inventory can carry. So I need to be better. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did a poll just today on my YouTube channel. You can do these like community posts. And in just a few hours, I got 52 comments. I think it's my busiest community post. I never had people respond that quickly. And here's the question. Do you use the cart in Valheim? Can you tell me why or why not in the comments? 29% of the people said yes all the time. 38% of the people said sometimes. 29% said rarely. And then 4% said there's a cart in Valheim, question mark.
How many people responded? How many people voted?
580 votes.
500,
wow, that's quite a good sample.
Yeah, it's
pretty good.
my most engaged post to date. And I read through.
I'll have to go.
Yeah, you should read through them. There's some really interesting comments about how people use them or why they don't use them. And so basically, it seems like most people don't like the fact that you just cannot pull them uphill. So you could even be on sort of flat ground. And if you've got a little slope or a little something, then you're just stuck, right? You just can't get the cart up there unless you're carrying a hoe and you kind of, make a road to sort of level out the ground really well. They really get hung up a lot. And it's unfortunate because both roads and carts don't get used much in the game. There's a little bit of roading for some decoration, but you never, except for the no map server, you just don't see roads going anywhere. And I think that's kind of a shame. And the portals are partly to blame for the roads. But yeah, people just don't use the carts because they're such a hindrance. Once they're fully loaded up, they're so hard to pull.
Yeah.
So I think the fix, my magic button, if I could change it, would be to add a buff to your running speed, reduce the stamina cost, and override the weight of the cart if you're pulling it along a paved road. It just completely.
There's a mod for that.
Yes, of course there is.
You run
Is this
faster on paved
there's an
roads.
app for that?
Yeah. Or you can put those tamed animals we have to use and put them in front of the cart.
Yes.
Yes.
Having animals
little
pull
systems.
carts would be awesome too.
Put the balls to work.
Yes.
Or that logs.
The logs. Yeah, that logs. That's like a 2-ton
The logs, that would make more sense.
mass of muscle there at your disposal.
Yeah. Well, Haldor has a giant cart for his locks. Why don't we have that cart? I want that cart.
Yeah.
But it's been suggested to me that roads to increase running speed so people are more likely to use them so you can run around places would be great. Also to help solve a little bit of the cart problem. Now, going up and down super steep mountains, can still be a little bit of an issue. But if you zigzag it, should be able to do it. But right now, even zigzagging a heavy cart is kind of, tough or almost useless. Most people just set up the cart up there and then push it down the hill and watch it roll, tumbling down with their silver. So, yeah, that's what I would love to change is just some way to make the carts more useful in the game.
Maybe another way to add a use for Blackmetal. That's like a progression item, the same way you can progress through different levels of boats. You can progress from a cart to like a wagon or something like that your locks could pull.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe in the future or maybe after 1.0. Or maybe there's a mod for that. So next, Thorin, you're gonna take us through some of our favorite things in Valheim. What are we talking about this week?
Yeah, we haven't done this segment in a little while. It was kind of one that Rudistic owned from the earlier episodes. Rudy, if you're still listening, we miss you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well. But figured today we'd bring it back as we were starting to run out of items, but we've thought of a few more. So I don't think we ever did this one, but correct me if I'm wrong. We got a new, at least one new Viking here, but we want to know what everybody's favorite biome in Valheim is. Gwen, why don't you go first?
It depends what for. For just generally hanging out and building, I think the Black Forest, I really like it because it's got, I really like the lighting. It's not too bright and The weather seems a bit better than in the meadows, weirdly. In the meadows, it just rains a lot all the time. Like every time you try to build in the meadows, it's like foggy or it's raining, stormy, whatever. So Black Forest for building or for just hanging out. For going on adventures, I think I would like the swamps, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
I grew some fondness for the swamps. Yeah.
Spooky.
I have to agree with you, Gwen.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate the mountains though, because I just somehow always freaking die in the freaking mountains. So I will gladly stay away from that biome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have to do our worst biomes then, and Gwen's is the mountain.
Tulkas, how about yourself?
I think I have to actually toss a coin on that topic. Because I really like the lighting in the Black Forest, but the Black Forest is one of the more hostile areas with all the trolls and the constant barrage of grey dwarfs running at you. And on the other hand, I really like the Ashlands biome, but there's not much to it yet. But I think I'm gonna stick with the Ashlands I'm hoping for more to come there. To make it. It's because, there's not even every biome has its own music, but in the Ashlands, it's just silence. And
Is that why you like it?
I like the atmosphere, like this hellish, the ash rain. And it never gets really dark, unlike in the other biomes where it's at nighttime, it's hard to see. But in the Ashlands, there's like this, when it shifts from day at night, it's a little bit dark. But then, like in the daytime, it's like this kind of bright fire-like tone in the sky, and at night it's just this purple, almost like in the Doom games kind of light there going on. It's just really, really nice, and I'm hoping for more. But then again, I don't know. Maybe the Mistlands will be my next favorite biome. Really depends on what's coming there.
Yeah, I think the environmental effects in the Ashlands are some of my favorite too. It's so cool looking. It's great for events. I was talking to Kondo, and when he was saying, when we're building POIs for season 2, he says, certain POIs, you just got to stick them in the Ashlands, even though there's not a lot there, just because that environmental effect with the red and the ash in the air, it's going to add so much to the atmosphere of the specific one. And I was like, yes, good idea, Kondo.
Yeah, it's just the atmosphere is just so great, and then I'm hoping we get more. We want, I don't know, just fire, burning buildings, giants, dragons. If you want, just a little, at least a little bit of music in there would be nice. Just something to get you in the mood.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Like
Dawn,
it.
how about yourself?
Oh boy. What don't I like? I would say that my favorite place to build, and I still haven't built a really good building there yet, is the mountains, because it never rains and you never have to worry about rain damage. And it'll blizzard, it'll get dark, but you can still see enough to build, and it's never it never feels miserable to build there. Like in some places, you're just like, oh my God, it's raining again. Or, oh
Until
my God,
the
it's
snow
so
tanks
misty,
your
I can't
FPS.
see. Well,
Yep.
yeah, there's that. But I think that mountain buildings are absolutely the best. And then I think my favorite biome to adventure in is definitely the swamps. I think Gwen has something there, because it, as much as it's dark and gloomy and, always raining and you always hear the undead, screaming at you, there's something about it that initially it terrified me. But after cleaning out an entire bone mass swamp of iron and crypts in the no map server, I kind of grew really fond of it. I grew fond of I grew fond of the way the ground is, if you can level it out with the hoe, and the way the vegetation is. And it just sort of has this really unique feel to it that is just I find myself going there seeking things out. And so, yeah, I'm drawn to the swamps, oddly enough. I think it's because you and I are magic users in real life.
we like those weird evil statues that you can find.
I
and
love those statues. I never
mystery.
think they're evil. Jiroc says, "Oh yeah, they're the evil statues." I'm like, those are so
yeah.
cool.
I know. I don't know why they called them evil. I know.
I know.
We'll have to ask the devs about that, because they to me they look like a woman figure. And when I saw that they were called evil statues, I was like, all right, well, that's not.
Well, mothers can be evil sometimes, you know.
maybe, but yeah, no. The swamps have this kind of weird coziness to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's maybe it's the atmosphere, maybe it's the sound, because the sound is very kind of muted. It just kind of feels cozy. I don't know.
I just don't like the random Draugr sounds. The like,
I like it. It's fun. It's just I find it fun now because I know that they're not too dangerous once you're in padded armor.
Mm-hmm.
The one that cracks me up is the one with the axe that runs really fast. I just find it looks so silly.
Yeah. I asked Lee Williams, who we had on the podcast, the writer, I asked him, so what's the lore behind the evil statues in the swamps? And he said, I'm afraid that the statues in the swamps have no special lore significance beyond suggesting that ancient civilizations had once inhabited those parts. But now you mention it, I might tie them in a little more closely in the future. So it would be great if we were able to influence a little bit more history around those statues just by asking the writer and making him consider it in the game, because those are some of my favorite things in the game. And it's why the swamps are one of my favorite too. When I started my YouTube channel out early on, I did a couple of videos in the swamps, and because of the lore behind the Draugr being the ancient civilization and the sunken crypts sort of being, where they're now kind of haunting. And then those evil statues, every time I see an evil statue, in my mind, I just kind of imply that there's some role-playing reason for it being where it was, right? Like guarding that area, or, it's a bad omen or a good omen or something. Like one of the few things in the game that you see in like this, I have to stop for a moment. Even now, after all this time, I stop and I look at it and I think, ooh, what could that mean for the story of this world? When I see the rune stones, when I see that, it really gives that to me.
Mm.
Yeah, I've tried to interact with the statues when I first discovered them. Hopefully there will be more to it. Last week when we talked with Grimcorn, we spoke quite at length about magic and sources of magic in the game. That would be a great way to tie those statues in with the swamp, potential swamp magic. Because they do look a lot like the carved figures that the Vikings actually had of all the gods. They would carve them and have like those effigies that they would keep for good fortune or good luck or that kind of stuff. So there could be some nice lore and folklore behind it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually hope that they add more things like that statue throughout the game, and maybe even give us the ability to make it, if we are able to obtain certain things in the game, maybe rare things you have to get from the Forsaken or find in a dungeon somewhere, and it's like a component required to make it, but it's a little bit more rare. That would be awesome. Well, what about you, Thorin? What's your favorite biome?
I think for building in, I would probably say the meadows. It just feels so like peaceful and like home. I don't know. I talked a lot about that in our episode with the composer Patrick Yarlestam, but I love the Meadow song. I'll often just like put it on loop from YouTube on in the background when I'm working, not even just when I'm building. So yeah, and then in terms of aesthetics, I think I would probably go with the mountains. I really like how peaceful it can feel, but also how intense it can get with the snowstorm and wolves running around and that kind of thing. I like the sound of the wolves howling. I know that's a contentious opinion.
What?
But, yeah.
One wolf howling is okay. 10 wolves howling? Come on.
True. Good point. And yeah, I will say for mountain biomes, I really like when they're nicely integrated into a black forest. I don't like the ones where it's just like a sheer face of rock and you have to jump for 10 minutes straight to get to the top. I like when there are a whole bunch of tiers and they nicely blend into the forest. But and yeah, they make for some really good terrain based builds where you can kind of build into the terrain of the mountains, I think, more than other biomes. So,
well, I guess if Morning and Thorin go and build up in the mountains, you can hide away from Gwen because she doesn't like going up there. She'll probably never know you're up there.
No.
Why would I want to hide from Gwen? I would just create the safest space for her inside the middlemost point of the mountain so that she could be protected from the most crazy, dangerous raid ever.
Yet I will still die of smoke of that fire that you left in your house.
I don't think any of my fireplaces have smoked you out, have they? I think I've been pretty careful on building ventilation for those.
She'll find a way.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for now. Have fun out there. Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skål!